next one is the Gulf quote. Hey guys, it's Casera, and today I'm going to be doing the Florida book tag. So I live in Florida and I saw this book tag, so I just decided to do it because I thought it was a fun and an interesting tag. It was created by Weeki Wachee, so I will link her video down below. And without further ado, let's get into the tag. So the first question is Mosquitoes, a book you can't seem to escape from. For this, I've chosen The Priority of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Like, every time I scroll through Instagram, I see a picture of this book. Like, it happens all the time. And I didn't hate this book. Like, I enjoyed this book. I rated it 3.5 stars. I was gonna do a review on it. I decided not to do a review on it just because, like, so many people seem to love this book, and I just had a feeling it was just gonna get so many dislikes on it if I did a review on it, because people apparently don't like it when you rate their favorite book 3.5 stars. So yeah, and it's just everywhere. I see it all the time, and I don't want to anymore. I spent a whole month reading this book. I'm kind of over it now. The next question is Hurricane Party, an amazing cast of characters. So for this, I'm going with the First Law Trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. Of course, I was gonna choose the First Law Trilogy. I absolutely love this series, and the characters are so well done in this series. Like, I wouldn't have a hurricane party with these characters because, like, oh my gosh, that would be such a mess. Like, because they're not likable. They're not likable characters at all, but we get to know their minds and how they think and their motivations so well that I couldn't help but like them. I absolutely loved every single one of them, because, like, once you see things from their perspective, like, then you understand why they do the things that they do and feel the way that they do. So I thought that was fantastic, and I love this series. The next question is a Florida man or a weird book, because yeah, there are tons of weird news stories in Florida. Like, I've stopped watching the news because of that. But a really weird book that is also really good, and I haven't given a shout out for in a while, is Vida Nostra by Marina and Sergei Dyachenkov. I absolutely loved this book. It's mind-boggling and really weird, like really, really weird, but also really, really good. The magic in this book is so mysterious and so interesting, but I have no idea how it works. Like, absolutely no idea. But at the same time, it's fantastic. It's a book that I really want to reread because I feel like I'll understand it better upon reread, because right now I don't understand it very much at all. But at the same time, like, it's really weird, guys. But I highly recommend it. It was really, really good. I listened to the audiobook of it, and it was fantastic. Highly recommend the audiobook. The next question is Weeki Wachee, a book featuring sea folk or merfolk, which, by the way, if you guys haven't been to Florida, I do recommend checking out Weeki Wachee, especially if you're, like, going on a road trip. It's a really good, just, like, one stop on a road trip, just because it's a really underrated Florida area, but, like, it's really good for, like, one day, and it's definitely an underrated spot that everyone who visits Florida should visit at least once. For the book, I decided to pick The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. I think this one has mermaids in it. They might be witches, but they're like sirens, sort of, which is kind of like mermaids. It's like the scary kind of mermaids, which I enjoy, definitely enjoy. And I haven't read this one yet. This was on my July TBR and I didn't get to it. I'm hoping that when I finish my August TBR, I can get to it because I'm really, really excited for it. But I thought I'd give it a shout out because it's like the only book on my shelf that it comes close to having mermaids in it. Actually, I forgot. The Harry Potter series has mermaids in it. I totally could have used the Harry Potter series for this one. Oh well. I'm sticking with The Wicked Deep, but yeah, really excited for this book. The next one is The Gulf Coast, a book featuring a beach. I don't think I have books featuring beaches. I don't read a whole lot of contemporary books. I mean, I have a bunch of Sarah Dessen books back there. I'm sure at least one of them features a beach, right? And let's see. I recently read The Rainwall Chronicles that features a river. Not the same thing as a beach. The Live Ship Traders features an ocean. Also not a beach. Oh! The Tawny Man trilogy definitely features a beach. Right here. Fool's Errand, like about halfway through it, Fitz and Prince Dutiful get stranded on a beach. And it is a great scene. I absolutely love that scene, actually. I still don't fully understand it. Like, it's another really weird scene. Like, it's really, really weird. And it foreshadows a lot of things that happen in, like, the later books, and I'm still trying to figure out if it foreshadows things that happen in the later trilogies also or not. I'm not sure. Really weird scene, but definitely features a beach. Not one that I would want to visit though, because I'd probably get eaten, but still, features a beach. It counts. Also, by the way, I love the Tawny Man trilogy. One of my favorite Robin Hobb series. The next question is The Forgotten Coast, an underrated book. I feel like every tag has an underrated book in it. And I don't read a whole lot of underrated books. Like all the books I read are super popular. Not because I jump on the bandwagon or anything. I just really like books that are really good. And if they're a good book, they end up being really popular. It just happens. For this one, I'm gonna go with Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. So Brandon Sanderson as an author is pretty well hyped, but I feel like when people talk about Brandon Sanderson, they talk about like Mistborn and the Stormlight Archives and his other books, and no one really talks about Elantris. And I actually really enjoyed Elantris. It was one of my favorite books by him, and this is his first book, and I think it was a really good debut. Like a really, really good debut that I really, really enjoyed. The world building in this book is fantastic, and unlike some of his other books, the plot starts right away. Like we get the plot immediately, and I love that about this book. And so good. I'm excited because he's going to continue on with the series, so I'm gonna have to reread Elantris at some point. So yeah, but highly recommend, especially like if you just want to read one book just to see if you like Brandon Sanderson. Actually, I probably wouldn't recommend Elantris for that just because it's a little bit different than his other books. I do recommend Elantris for those of you who have read other Brandon Sanderson books and you haven't read it yet. Definitely recommend Elantris. So the next question is Sunscreen and Sunburns, a book that has stuck with you. Luckily for me, with my complexion, I don't get sunburns very often, but I do have a book that really has stuck with me ever since I was a child, and that's Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. This is like a really weird one because most people think I'm crazy when I say Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite of her books. But like, I reread this series as an adult quite recently. I just remember getting to The Prisoner of Azkaban and going, I understand why Harry Potter is so good now, because just the way this book is written, the circular sort of fashion that it's written in, and how the subplots just weave together seamlessly is so well done. And I really love that aspect about this book. It's really hard to explain because it seems so simple when you're reading it, but just like the complexities that it's built into this story in a way that is really simple is really hard to do, and I just really admire this book because of that. Like, it still today remains my favorite Harry Potter book, even though like some of the other books in the series are arguably better, like much longer and have a lot more detail and things like that. But for some reason, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban just sticks with me in a way that the other ones don't really. So yeah, really enjoy this book. Also, when I was a kid, I reread this book so often that it has fallen apart completely. Like, I have loose pages, like legit loose pages in this book. So gotta take care of this one. But yeah, definitely like probably my favorite book of all time. But also I always want to reread this one, even if I don't reread some of the other ones, just because of how well constructed it is. So yeah, really enjoy this one. So the next question is The Sunshine State, a book that you just can't make up your mind about. And I think the reasoning behind this is sometimes the sunshine is nice and sometimes it's annoying as crap because it gets really hot. So yeah, you can't make up your mind about it. So for this one, well, I had a Harry Potter reference in the last one, so we're gonna do A Song of Ice and Fire this time. And I'm gonna talk about Feast of Crows. So this book is hard to make up your mind about. This book follows one of my favorite books of all times, A Storm of Swords, which is arguably amazing, and Feast of Crows is not, but yet it's still really well done. Like, if you look at Feast of Crows by itself, not including any of the other books in the series, I would probably love Feast of Crows. I would probably love it so much. For those of you who aren't as familiar with the books, Feast of Crows, the main character in it is Cersei Lannister. It's the book where you kind of like start to like Cersei, which, knowing what happens in the other books and what she does in the other books, I don't want to like Cersei. There's that. If you read this book by itself, not including any of the other books, it's arguably a very good book. It has really interesting character development. It has a really complex political plot, and it has a great twist near the end. But if you read it after the third book, A Storm of Swords, which is high action, lots of great characters that you really love, with like plot twist after plot twist after plot twist after plot twist, this book is a letdown. So I can't make up my mind about it, because if I look at it as a book alone by itself, it's a really good book. if I put it into context with all the other books in this series, it's arguably the worst book in the series. So yeah, there's that. I still gave it 4.5 stars, so there's that also. So I guess I like it, but at the same time, it's my least favorite book in this series. So the last question is Retirement Communities, a book featuring an elderly character. So for this one, I decided to shy away from the fantasy a little bit and talk about My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Fredrik Backman. I enjoyed this book so much, and obviously there is a grandmother in this book. Main character Elsa is like 7 years old and her grandmother dies, and it's just like how she deals with the grief, and it's just such an imaginative book and so interesting, and I love the characters in it. So highly recommend if you haven't read this book. Really great book by Fredrik Backman. Fredrik Backman is like one of my new favorite authors for this year, and definitely really enjoyed My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry. And the grandmother, oh my gosh, in this book, the grandmother is amazing. I love her character. So well done, and really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tag. Please let me know down in the comments what you thought. I'd love to discuss with you guys. I post videos frequently on this channel, so consider subscribing. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.